Hey guys, and warm welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace if you're new here, and this is the Rusty Thicket where we do all sorts of Goblin Core stuff. Over the weekend, I tried not to pay much attention to any of my social media and stuff like that, but I did get back on this morning. It's Monday here in Japan, and noticed I have like 10 or 12 new subscribers, which is just awesome. And I just want to say hello and welcome to every single one of you. I hope that this is your niche. I'm really looking for my niche still. I believe that Goblin Core is going to be around for quite some time. I do want to mention though that this channel is going to become a few things over the next couple of years, and that's actually what I wanted to have this video be about today. So I did a little 5-year planning. I've had some of this already planned out, but I decided I would really sit down and think about what I wanted to do and where I wanted this to go, and just actually get it out to where I can visualize it myself because I'm a very visual person. I went and picked up a whiteboard, and I don't know if you can read any of this from this distance yet, but I am working on getting a camera. I know I said that in the comments below somewhere, but you know, they're just expensive, large items, and I don't want to put too much money into this before it really becomes a thing. That's just a smart money thing that I need to be aware of right now. So, you know, eventually it will get there, I hope, with all of your guys' help, of course. And at this point, I think we're sitting right under 200 subscribers, so that's awesome. I would love it if you guys could like and comment and share as much as possible so we can continue to grow. But anyway, yes, this video is going to be about where we're going. And I wanted to do this now because it's not right before the end of the year, and I want to be able to have a few months to kind of look at the board and see what's really still resonating with me, and maybe I've got a few things to add to that as well. So mostly what I want to talk about is the future of this, I wouldn't say end goal because it's going to keep growing, I hope, but the eventual plan is that when I am done here in Japan, which my husband should be getting new orders by the end of 2025, so 2026, my goal for the year of 2026 is to be up and running, feet on the ground, just hit the floor running as hard as I can in our new location. I want to be monetarily self-sufficient by then. I'm hoping to have upgraded lots of my equipment, especially a camera and especially some lighting, because I know my videos need it. But I don't just want to go buy $25 lighting if it's not exactly what I want. So, you know, I haven't just bought stuff to buy things, and I feel like that's important for not just my channel but me as a person, because a lot of that needs to be incorporated into my channel as well. Which leads me into wanting to talk about the fact that ever since we moved to Japan, and before we moved to Japan we wanted this, but moving to Japan really allowed us to do what I'm doing right now, which is being a full-time stay-at-home wife, but also a full-time artist, trying to make that an actual viable income. And YouTube is hopefully going to help me with that, but it is not my overall goal to have YouTube making the money that is supporting my art. I want my art to support my art. I want that to be my business. This is just one of those tools that artists use today to be able to get to that step. You know, some people have a really easy time doing it because they're born into the social media thing. And as a millennial, I definitely had that stuff at my fingertips, but I just never used it for that sort of thing to begin with. But then when it became apparent that I'm not as fluid with it as I would like, I feel like set me back a little bit. So I'm very slowly working on that. I don't know how everybody posts. Like, every day, all week. I don't really know what people would be interested in. Like when I see content, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like it almost never translates to what I'm doing. But I think that's an in my head thing. So I'm hoping, you know, we get to figuring that out. But did you know that if you type in how many times should I post on TikTok for my business, it says 1 to 4 times a day. A day. I can't figure out what to put on there 1 time, 1 week, 1 month. I don't know. And maybe it's because I don't sell enough of my art to continually, constantly be making it, but that's also a goal I'm gonna be working on. I know a while back I had said I probably wasn't gonna be able to use Japan Post, which I definitely, I still won't be able to use it the way that I would use the post office in the United States. Like I would know it well enough to know how much I could ship things for and stuff like that, with not just with the language barrier here, but also just because it's Okinawa. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's a tiny, tiny island, really far away from even Japan. Sorry, that's my phone. We're also just really far away from Japan, so it's expensive to ship from here no matter what you do. And since I can't use the post office here on base, I have to use Japan Post because I need to pay Japanese taxes when I pay to ship things and all of that, because it's the right thing to do. It's what I'm supposed to do. So anyway, this whole thing is kind of my 5-year out hopes and dreams, goals I really want to meet. For 2022, obviously I published my YouTube in like February. I should be, I would like to think I'm at like 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I definitely want to do at least one big event here on base, which I'm hoping at the very least will be our Christmas show, which is in, I think, the first part of December. I would love to be able to sell at something big like that. Now that's not, you know, county fair big like I would like to do in 2026, depending on where we are, of course. But it would be a huge start to let me know quantity-wise and volume-wise what kind of stuff I can create and what kind of stuff I can sell. Because ultimately, the kind of artist I want to be, like, I love to sell things online, and I definitely find joy in the smaller events. But I have always dreamt, my biggest dream since I was little and I wanted to be an artist, was to just sell at those big, huge East Coast craft fairs. I grew up in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina area, and it's very prominent in those areas to have large craft fairs and vendor events and things like that. You know, we had Belshare, the Apple Festival, the Elizabeth and Cover Bridge was big, the Woolly Worm Festival, and if you guys aren't familiar with any of these, please go look them up. They're just incredible. People come from all over the world to sell at some of these places, and I just always wanted to be a part of that community. And I want to say that's the number one driving force for me wanting to be an artist, because I want to be a part of that. More than I ever wanted to just go to these places, I wanted to set up a booth and sell there. For me, that would probably be one of the most fulfilling things, is to be able to do one of those really big events, and not just to sell stuff, because obviously I want to make money and, you know, have this bring an income in and sustain itself, but because the satisfaction of selling art and making people happy with art is the ultimate goal. I just want to be able to do that in that setting. So in 2026, when we get to our new location, that's my biggest hope, because I can only do so big here, I feel like. I mean, maybe I don't know. We've not been here a full year yet. I know that Tinseltown and a couple of the other events that they have towards the end of the year with the holidays are a lot bigger, but I'm talking, I want big. I want a 3-day event big. And I feel like that just sounds so exhausting, but so fulfilling. So I know that we don't do anything quite like that here. Most of our events are, you know, a couple hours a day, maybe a full day, just depending on what it is. So that's like a 2026 goal when we get to our next location, because more than likely it will be back in the States, whether we stay in or we get out. Of course, I'll know more later on. This is just planning for what I think may happen. So 2022, I want to do at least one big event, like I was saying, towards the end of the year, more likely. I would love to get into a better blogging routine, because if you haven't checked out my website yet, it is a little lacking. I wanted to start a blog to kind of coincide with my YouTube videos, but some of my videos are not specific on an item enough that I would feel like taking the photos, writing it all up, and all of that kind of thing. But eventually my goal would be to have an active blog that is then actively being posted with Pinterest to help get more activity that way, to reach more people that way. Because I spend a lot of time on Pinterest for all sorts of things, but a lot of it is for art inspiration, photography, you know, stuff like that. When it comes to slow living, which is something I am going to add here on 2023 in just a second, I get a lot of my inspiration off of Pinterest as well, and I like that creative community, so I want to add more of my things to that platform. So we're gonna add here, actually let's go through 2023 first. So obviously by a year out, which is February of next year, I would love to be monetized on the channel. I can't predict that, but sometime next year, I feel like it could happen regardless. We'll have to just see how it goes, but I'm extremely optimistic about it because we're already moving in a great direction. When I get monetized, unless something happens with like a really great art sale and some stuff like that, that's when I plan on upgrading my camera. We'll just have to see how it goes. You know, the money is being saved and we'll see how it is when we get there. I also want to get new lighting and some stuff like that. I would love to be able to get this website up and going enough that it's got enough traffic that I could put my things for sale on my website and potentially get off of Etsy. Etsy has a lot of fees, and as much as I love it because I've been on Etsy for years, before I was doing this, I paid a lot of my wedding stuff off with things I sold on Etsy. But you know, they're accruing more and more fees, and it can kind of be a pain in the butt to have to go through every single thing and then shipping from them and the taxes and all that kind of stuff gets a little overwhelming when I could just make the sale on my website, track it myself, and be done with it, honestly. But we'll see how that goes too, because Etsy has taught me a lot about taxes and stuff like that, which I'll talk a little bit more about over here in 2024. So anyway, I would love to start a Patreon when I hit about 500 subscribers or more. I'm thinking if I wait until I'm monetized, it would give me a little bit more freedom to be able to do that, because I want to offer physical items, and the only other way I can also do that is if I figure out Japan Post, which is something I hope to have done by the end of the year. At the very least, I'd be able to ship envelope type things, maybe not necessarily three-dimensional framed pieces, but I'm working on it. That also means selling physical items on Etsy as well, because right now that's a purely digital download platform for me, because that's what I can do. I'd like to teach a watercolor class on base. They do have that opportunity. It takes a long time to kind of get through that. I wouldn't call it red tape. It's just between paperwork and scheduling, and then finding people that will sign up for it, because they don't just put you in a room when nobody has planned on being there. But I'll keep you all posted on that, because I'm sure that would be really interesting, and I've always wanted to, even though sometimes I don't feel like I have the authority to teach. I feel like I still have you know, enough self-taught stuff to be able to be like, this is how I do it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. I don't know. All right, and then, now don't freak out. I have Vlogoween written down here. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it. I cannot promise you guys, but I want to do it so bad. Because something else that I would really like to start incorporating just a little bit more, but not super heavy into this channel, is the fact that I am self-identified Wiccan, but mostly I'm just spiritual. You know, I love the crystals and all that kind of stuff for the Goblin Core-ness of it too, but they also mean a lot to me in other areas of my life, and I want to incorporate that into things. And Halloween just seems to be, you know, the month of October just seems to be a good way to start hitting that heavy, but then being able to kind of slowly keep it in the channel as well. But we're gonna see. I've got some lofty ideas, and I'm just not sure if I'll be able to have the time, the money, or the ability to do that in just a couple of months. But having said that, we're definitely doing Vlogmas. I have a whole thing planned out. Most of it is bought and paid for and super inexpensive and achievable, and I feel like that one's gonna be, it's a no-brainer. We're definitely doing Vlogmas. And I need a channel preview video, which you might not know what that is, but you know, if you have a channel on YouTube, you can do like a little, hey, this is what my channel's about. And I don't like seeing that little block empty when it could be full, so I'm gonna do one. All right, so moving on to 2023. We already talked about a lot of this, but I wanted to add in the slow living, which I did. It's very important to me that because when we moved to Japan, I could be a stay-at-home wife, I could do my art, I could take care of the house the way I've always wanted to. I love deep cleaning, I love baking homemade bread, just the things I never felt I had time for when I was working full-time or part-time. So it's going to be incorporated in little bits and pieces. It's not going to move into a minimalist channel or anything like that, but I am going to hit on some of those things because I like living below my means, simple, and just, you know, cozy. It goes hand in hand really well with the whole Goblin Core, cottagecore aesthetic anyway, so I just feel like it's a no-brainer to also talk about that. Publishing. So I've always wanted to make a children's book, and that's going to be quite a bit further out. I've got it unlisted here, but it's in my overall hopes and dreams, my goals. I definitely can get a coloring book published next year. I don't know how it's going to get published, like the actual avenue of it happening. I'm still researching that, but I've all but drawn the whole book anyway. I also want to do a calendar. I've always wanted to make a calendar, so I don't know if it's going to be digital or if I'm going to print it yet, but I would like to do something like that. And then 2024, that for me, that year, by the end of it, I really need to be completely self-sufficient. Right now we do tap into some savings that we have that we specifically put aside for this, and then whatever money I make on what sales I do have and things like that. So once YouTube is monetized, once I'm making money through Patreon, and once my art sales have increased because I'm, you know, doing more of them more frequently and I have access to them and things like that, 2024 should be easy by then to be completely self-sufficient, and that is my ultimate goal for 2024, so not a whole lot else matters. But if I could get a play button, that would be great. So we're gonna work towards that too, of course, but you know, that's within the big goal, which is to just be completely self-sufficient on my own as a business. And then if that happens, because I can't really justify doing this beforehand, this is a pretty expensive, I mean, it's not that bad. I would really like to take a small business course, an entrepreneur course. I don't want to go back to college, been there, done that. But I would like to take like an online course, a self-paced thing. And I found one through Duke University's continuing education program, which doesn't really actually have anything to do with Duke itself. But it's like $700, and I don't want to be paying for that sort of thing when that money could be going into the overall business for now. But this is going to mostly matter when I start making a lot more money anyway. So I'm thinking by 2024, if I'm fully self-sufficient, that should be a good time when I can maybe do that. Plus, it should give me enough time to actually sit and take classes, because all of this would be online, and I think there's like a 5-month limit, so I would be pretty busy doing that. And that's really just for me. I want to know more about taxes and things, because that's what scares me the most about having a small business, is just making sure I'm doing everything the right way. And then if it gets big enough, I want to know how to hire people, how to help me make more art and things like that. So I would also love to publish a tarot deck. I have always loved tarot deck art. I don't know how achievable that is all in that same year, but it's a lofty goal in general. There are 72 cards that I have to, 78 cards I have to come up with drawings for. And I don't know if those would be hand done or digital, no idea. So when we find out where we're going next, that will kind of drive the rest of that year for sure, and then definitely into 2026. But I want to try and do some like outlined grant packages, some just generalized information into some kind of a grant package, so that I can then find out where we're going next and put that together for whatever grant, because I'm hoping to apply to a few things to kind of help get more money for the small business. So I know this was a huge brain dump, just a giant word vomit at you guys, but I just wanted to let you know what I'm thinking, where I'm wanting to go, hopefully kind of getting an idea from you all what you think. I would love some comments below. Please let me know what you think. I want that community engagement, you know? Like I said, follow that link tree below. I've got all kinds of places for you to hit me up at. Here's my 5-year plan. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.